Dion Johnson here, strategic partner, spiritual advisor, and executive power coach to women in senior leadership. So, this video is for you if you are a CEO, a director, a head, a board executive, board director, a corporate expert, anybody who is really a leader, shaping directions, shaping culture, making decisions at high level in high level leadership. This video is for you. It's inspired. Oh, let me tell you first of all that I am the author of this book, Influential Woman: A Fresh Approach to Tackling Inequality and Leading Change at Work. I wrote this book for you because I know that you care deeply about making real change, that you are one of those cold ones, those crazy ones that thinks you can change the world, that wants to change the world, that wants to deal with the big issues, that cares about the stuff that's going on, the change that you want to see in the world. You are a difference maker, a catalyst for change in your space. And my work is deeply committed to supporting you to step into your power, to own your authority, and to make way more difference than you thought was possible. Change that can blow your mind. That's what's really excites me about you. So the reason that I'm making this video is because last night I was scrolling on Facebook looking at some of my old posts, and I stumbled across a post that inspired my thinking this morning, right? So this post was written in 2020. I think it was quite soon after George Floyd was murdered, when the world was very tense around racial issues. The Black Lives Matter movement was really making momentum, and there was just a lot of talk about George Floyd, racism, and inequality. Remember? Right. So my post was about a reframe for a campaign that was happening around that time called Silence is Violence. And I didn't remember that campaign. I had to look it up because I didn't remember it yesterday, but I looked it up and I remembered that that campaign was one of those online things that was happening around the fact that there were some people who weren't being public with their ideas about um, the atrocities of George Floyd's murder, or there were people who were silent about their support for Black Lives Matter, and this campaign was really a witch hunt for them. It was a it was a tear down for people who weren't using their voice, who weren't speaking publicly about how bad things are and how bad things were and how bad things need to, need how badly things need to be changed. They weren't being vocal with their ideas around this whole very heated topic. And in this post that I was reading last night, I decided I'd taken it upon myself to offer a reframe. I shared in the post that as a speaker who perhaps, like, people don't invite me to speak at their events if they want a kind of light-hearted, sort of jolly kind of talk. My talks tend to be a little beneath the surface, a little bit hard-hitting, a little bit vulnerable, and really provocative. Provocative, I think that's a good word to describe. Captivating and provocative is a really good words to describe my talks, right? So people don't usually call me to talk if they want things to be, just sort of a bit superficial or a bit light-hearted. That was a point that I made in the post. And as a result, there's oftentimes, I remember early on in my speaking career, this would really catch me off guard, because oftentimes when I would speak, there would be this eerie silence in the room. There would be this kind of almost tangible, like cut with a knife kind of quiet. It's almost like I know for very early on in my career, I'd be thinking, oh my God, are they even listening to me? Or, oh my God, like, do they not like what I'm saying? Or is there something wrong? There was not much audience feedback. Like often there would just be this like deadpan silence that would really freak me out. And over the years, I begin to understand that those people aren't disengaged. They're not listening. They're not disliking what I'm saying. What they are is hit by the gravity of the ideas that I'm sharing. What they are is touched, moved to a deeper place. These people, these audiences that I address, they are often, the word that came to my mind is stunned, but you know what I mean. They're often provoked to think about things that they have never thought about, or contemplate things that they're not used to spending time thinking around. That there's a silence that can come when somebody is really, really provoked to go deeper, think deeper, explore deeper. There's a there's when this occurs, there is not light, it's not jolly, it's not noisy, it's quiet, it's inward, it's deeper. And I was explaining in the post that I think this is what's happening for some people right now, right then, with all the noise and all the tension and all that's going on in the world. But there are some people who are really being hit by this, hit into a place of deep contemplation. And so I offered the reframe that it wasn't silence that was violence. Silence isn't the problem. These people are thinking. Indifference might be a problem. Indifference might be violence, but that's not what we're seeing here. But I found it interesting. I've been thinking about it today, how we judge silence, how we judge, full stop, really, how we look at the people's behaviors and we decide what it means, and how we favor the kind of off the cuff responses and, off the top of our heads ramblings. Like we don't go often in favor of deeper contemplation about these big issues that, let's face it, are part and parcel of our role as senior leaders. The big things, like inequality and injustice and inequity, these are big things. And oftentimes we just feel like we need to have the answers. We just speak willy-nilly. We just chucking into the fire of all of this noise. We're bringing to the table all of these ideas that everyone's saying. We're like parrots. We're just repeating what we've heard and speaking off the top of our heads, when actually what's really required here is a deeper level of contemplation. I'm making this video today because I think that this has stirred up a fresh realization for me that what we need now in our preparation process as powerful leaders, as we prepare to take on these big issues, and as we prepare um, to lead important, meaningful change in this new season where we're being called as leaders to think about how to tackle inequality, how to tackle um, inequity, how to tackle illness, sickness, disease among our people and in society, injustices. As we're being called higher and higher into dealing with these big things, I believe that it's a time that we get used to, we practice, we employ contemplation, we favor it, where I want us to make it so that that's where we go first, that we're thinking more deeply about what we're saying. You see, I think if we think more deeply about what we're saying, about what we think about these big issues, then that's where new ideas come from. That's where new insight is born. When we just shut up a minute and just go deeper. I'm making this video in favor of deeper thinking, especially for us as we prepare to take our leadership to a whole other level. It can be so tempting to it can be so tempting to just, be quick and, just ramble on or just start talking before we've really thought about what we're going to say or, all of that, that rambly cacophony, that noisy free for all. It hasn't really served us well. And I believe that new insight wants to come, new ideas want to come. And so I'm encouraging you that if you're serious, and I know you are, serious about leading important, meaningful change, I just wanted to bring it to your attention the importance of contemplation, the importance of deeper thinking, the importance of asking why, asking yourself why, in that listening for that still small voice to come with new wisdom and new ideas and new insights for the season that we are in and the demands on senior leadership right now to tackle some really important things. So how can you strengthen your contemplation practice? How can you how can you deepen your thinking around the big issues? That's the question for today. I'm Dion. I think that's what I want to say today, and I'll speak to you soon.